Hello, my name is Luca, and I come from a small village called Montemoro in Italy. It's a peaceful place with charming old houses and narrow streets. But even though Montemoro is beautiful, I have big dreams. I want to study in New York City, the heart of the world. New York is a huge, lively city full of famous landmarks like the Statue of Liberty, Times Square, and Central Park. I want to see all these places with my own eyes, and more importantly, I want to improve my English. I believe New York is the perfect place for that. Montemoro is quiet, and everyone knows each other. It's a great place to grow up, but I've always felt that there's something bigger waiting for me. I've been here all my life, going to school every day, playing soccer with my friends, and reading books in my free time. But every day, I think about New York. I imagine myself walking down its busy streets, visiting museums, and attending a big university. The thought excites me. One evening, I sit down with my parents in the living room. I take a deep breath and tell them, "Mom, Dad, I want to talk to you about something." They look at me curiously. "What is it, Luca?" my mom asks. I say, "I want to study in New York next year." My mom looks surprised and says, "But Luca, New York is so far away. It's a huge city, and it can be dangerous." My dad nods and adds, "We worry about you. You're safe here in Montemoro." I understand their concerns. New York is far, and it's a big change. But I feel ready. I tell them, "I know it's far, but I will be careful. I want to learn, to see the world." They look at each other, silent for a moment. Then my mom says, "We love you, Luca. We want you to be safe, but we also want you to be happy." My dad adds, "This is a big decision. We need to think about it." I feel hopeful. They're worried, but I know they want me to be happy. I smile and say, "Thank you, Mom and Dad. I promise I'll be careful." That night, I lie in bed, thinking about New York. It won't be easy, but I'm determined to follow my dream. The next day, I'm thrilled to see my parents are starting to consider my dream. I know it's a big decision, but I feel ready. I want to go to New York, and I'm determined to make it happen. One day, I talk to my best friend, Marco. Marco is the one who plays soccer with me, who has been my friend since childhood. I tell him about my dream to study in New York. He looks excited and says, "That's amazing, Luca. I want to go too." We talk about New York for hours, imagining all the things we want to do and see. We decide to go together. We'll be study partners in the big city. The next step is to get our passports. A passport is a small book that shows who you are and lets you travel to other countries. Marco and I go to the office and get our passports. It's exciting. Next, we buy plane tickets. We search online and find a good deal to New York. Using our savings, we book the tickets. I've never been on a plane before, and the thought of flying makes me nervous, but also excited. We also need a place to stay, so we search for a small apartment. We find one not far from our new school. It's cozy and affordable, and we're happy. We're ready for this adventure. Now, we need to pack. We make a list of things to bring: clothes, books, snacks for the trip. We pack our bags carefully. My parents are still a bit worried. "Luca, be careful," my mom says. "New York is big. Stay safe." I promise them that I'll be careful. I give them a big hug, and tell them, "Thank you, Mom and Dad. I'll call you every day." The day of our departure is getting closer, and Marco and I are buzzing with excitement. We talk about our new life in New York, about the school, and all the places we'll visit. The adventure is about to begin. The big day has arrived. Marco and I are ready to leave. We say goodbye to our families. My mom and dad give me a big hug, saying, "Be safe, Luca. We love you." I promise them I'll be careful. Marco and I head to the airport. The airport is huge, filled with people. Some are excited, others are tired. We check our bags and get our boarding passes. I can feel the nervous energy building up inside me. It's my first time flying, and Marco feels the same way. We wait for the plane to board, talking about all the things we want to do in New York. Finally, it's time to board the plane. It's so big inside. We find our seats, and I sit by the window. Marco sits next to me. As the plane starts moving, I look out the window. The plane picks up speed, and before I know it, we're in the air. The ground below us gets smaller and smaller. I feel amazed and happy. Marco is excited too. The flight is long, and we pass the time by reading, watching movies, and sleeping. The flight attendants are kind, and serve us sandwiches and drinks. But then, the plane shakes. It's turbulence, and for a moment, I feel scared. Marco grabs my hand, and we stay calm. After a while, the turbulence stops, and we feel better. I look out the window again. The sky is beautiful, and we're getting closer to New York. Finally, the plane starts descending, and I see the city below. It's huge, with lights everywhere. We're in New York. The plane lands smoothly, and we step off. We're in the city that never sleeps, ready to begin our adventure. We take a taxi to our new apartment. New York is exactly as I imagined, busy, bright, and full of life. We pass by yellow cabs, tall buildings, and giant billboards. Everything is new and exciting. Our apartment is small but nice. It has 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, and a living room. We unpack our bags, and then we're ready to explore the city. The next morning, we wake up early. We have a map of New York, and plan to visit some famous places. Our first stop is the Statue of Liberty. It's even more impressive in person. We take tons of pictures, then head to Times Square. The lights and signs are dazzling, and the energy of the place is amazing. Next, we visit Central Park, which is huge and beautiful. We take a walk, enjoy the green space, and feel like explorers in a new world. As the day goes on, we get tired but happy. We decide to head back to the apartment, but we make a wrong turn and get lost. For a moment, we feel a little scared, but we ask a friendly woman for directions, and she points us in the right direction. Soon, we find our way back. Later, we sit down at a cafe, talking about our first day. But then, something happens. Marco realizes his wallet is missing. We feel panicked, but we stay calm. We retrace our steps and go back to the places we visited, but it's nowhere to be found. We report it to the police, and although we're still worried, we feel relieved knowing that they'll help us. Even though things didn't go perfectly, I'm sure we'll be okay. This is just the beginning of our journey.